It's your Geordie Journos. We've had a little bit of GJ Towers. We've been on location. We've been everywhere, really, haven't we?
Yeah.
And now we're in a new location. Big shout out to Richie Southern for setting this up, and for everybody here, Matty, the manager, etc., at Louis' Liquor Store on the big market.
Heart in Newcastle.
It is the heart in Newcastle. Cheers. Where's yours?
I got me Coke, so I was going to join in with that.
Cheers, Jordan.
He's
Welcome
driving.
back.
Thanks.
He's driving. He's a sensible boy. Right. Amazing setting. Quite a interesting week Newcastle United have had. It's probably felt rather negative in some ways. We discussed that in the previous video with the PSR drama and all the mayhem that went along with it. But we've had some positive news with regard to sporting director situation. Of course, Paul Mitchell's come in. Been at some fantastic clubs. I think he started at MK Dons.
Did, yeah.
MK Dons, Southampton, Tottenham, Leipzig, the RB Sporting Group, wider network they've got, and then Monaco most recently has come in at Newcastle United. To much fanfare. I think a lot of you guys out there will be reacting really positively to this news, because it feels like the breath of fresh air that Newcastle United needs. Dom, it wouldn't be the Geordie Journos without me making a mistake. Would it?
Are you thinking about the Sela Cup?
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about.
Brest coming to St James's Park. Is that what you thought?
Brest.
No. Yeah, stop with the childish jokes. Anyway, right, we're talking about... Well, I suppose we can come on to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
That's been another... I mean, I've got my opinions on that. I'm not...
Champions League opposition, Liam.
Okay. We'll leave it at that until we discuss it a bit later on. But we just thought we'd come on, give you guys a little bit of our thoughts, our insight on the hot topic of Newcastle United at the moment. And we thought we'd better get in. We said it, didn't we? We'll get another little video in before Jordan jets off on his well-earned, deserved holidays. Mr. Newcastle World one-man band.
It has been this week.
He has been this week. Fair play to him. Right, I'll come to you first. And Jordan, thoughts on the situation? It kind of feels like, to me, it's like it's flipped on its head. You had sort of the Manchester United fans online were all lauding it over Newcastle United due to the Dan Ashworth situation, and have Newcastle just went and picked their number one choice?
Well, it feels that way. There was reports earlier in the year that Manchester United were interested in bringing Paul Mitchell in. Paul Mitchell told Manchester United he was looking at all opportunities, and lo and behold,
it was Newcastle.
Five months later, it was Newcastle United. So, look, I think he's a name that's been linked with every sporting director position in the Premier League in terms of the top six. There's been at Chelsea, Liverpool. He's clearly got something about him, and then you look at his track record. Started out at MK Dons, and then the job he's done at Southampton and Spurs alongside Mauricio Pochettino probably coincided with Spurs and Southampton's most successful period sort of in the modern era, I feel like. I think a Champions League final for Spurs. Southampton were punching above the weight in the Premier League at the time. Yeah. And then from then he's went on to like some Monaco you mentioned there, the Red Bull group. Arrives a lot of pedigree. So you think about losing Dan Ashworth, have Newcastle in many ways, although went through a bit of a roller coaster over the last 5 months, ended up with someone that's better. I think if you look at Paul Mitchell's CV, Dan Ashworth's CV, for as much as people don't like Dan Ashworth on Newcastle now, on Tyneside, shall I say, not Newcastle, on Tyneside, I think Paul Mitchell's CV is very, very impressive. Dan Ashworth's is impressive, but European pedigree that Paul Mitchell arrives with, so for me it's a really positive appointment. We'll go through the signs in a bit that he signed for the likes of the clubs I've just mentioned. I think out of all the candidates that Newcastle could have appointed, he's definitely up there as one of the best, so I'm really, really happy with it.
Kind of ticks all the boxes that they talked about, isn't it? We've been involved with talking to these executives higher up at Newcastle United, and almost the sense that you always got from these conversations was that Premier League experience was kind of key. Yeah. And if you were going to pick anybody who had that Premier League experience, it would be Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, definitely. But not only Premier League experience,
he's
done it in Europe as well, which is so important for player recruitment, particularly when you're looking at value for money, which he has a track record of great value for money.
So for anybody out there who doesn't know, give a little hit list of the type of players that he's brought in during his time at Southampton, Spurs, Leipzig and Monaco.
There's a good list, but I'll highlight a few. Sadio Mane, £10 million.
Unbelievable.
Went on to be one of the best players in the world at Liverpool. Son Heung-min, £22 million for Spurs. Kieran Trippier 3.5 million, Dele Alli 5 million, which, I mean, eventually they didn't make the money back, but he was one of the best players in the Premier League for a period.
People talk about Jude Bellingham's form now, at the age that he is. Dele Alli was a little bit of that at the time. Never quite as good. You didn't think, I think there's a higher ceiling with Bellingham, but for that little period, Dele Alli was probably the best attacking midfielder on the planet.
Yeah. At a very young age as well. He also got the likes of Dusan Tadic, Victor Wanyama for relatively cheap.
I'm looking at that. Dejan Lovren was a quality performer.
Went on to go to Liverpool, and then even what I like is he's done it at Champions League level or European level. The likes of Leipzig and Monaco, Christopher Nkunku, Dani Olmo for Leipzig. These are good players. Almost with Spain at the moment, the national team. Patrick Schick's another one. He shone at the last Euros. These are top level players, but it's those connections he will have built over years working at the likes of Monaco, Leipzig, that could really reap the rewards for Newcastle, because he'll have those connections and that scouting ability, player recruitment ability
on your list here, Mateus Cunha at RB Leipzig. Exactly, I'll take a bit of that.
12.5 million.
Quality business.
With what we've learned, well, we knew it anyway, but what we've really learned in the past week is how important player trading is for Newcastle United. So, and if you're getting someone in who has a proven track record of getting these high quality, high potential, high sell-on value players for relatively low cost, okay, I would use the caveat of Sadio Mane at Southampton. That's 10 years old now.
Yeah.
The landscape of football has changed very much, but in terms of a CV, in terms of potential, I think you lose Dan Ashworth, you gain Paul Mitchell. I don't think it's the disaster losing Dan Ashworth you may have thought. I think if anything, there's an argument to be made that it is an upgrade.
I think it's an upgrade. I think he's got a better CV, and I think looking at that list of players, it's really important to realise that he's a guy who if he isn't spotting them himself, has got the right contacts to make sure he's getting those deals done. Quickly, before I go into my thoughts on what's happening, do give this video a like, give it a share. If you do like what we do, there's a little button below where you can donate to the Geordie Journos, and we always promise that anything that ever comes into our channel, we all stand by this, will always be thrown back into the mix to make sure that we're providing the best possible content that we can for you guys out there. So do give it a like, give it a share, helps the algorithm, and we much appreciate your support. The T's and C's, I'll make sure I mention this, 4 Rivers Financial Planning, proud sponsors of the Geordie Journos. They love being involved. Any investment advice, any pension advice, do check them out. It'll all be down below in the bio, and you'll probably see the badge somewhere on the screen. I'm never sure which corner it's going to be, and I'm sure you'll be used to this by now, but you'll have seen it. Do click the link below and get in touch with them if you want anything to do with your pensions or investments. It's always good to get financial advice. Maybe should we tell Amanda? Should we tell Amanda about 4? No, that was a joke. About 4 Rivers. I'm sure he'd appreciate it though. And finally, obviously, I don't know if you guys spotted it out there, but we've been on Shots TV this week, and every Monday night at 10:30 we will be on Shots TV channel
276.
I was going to say something different.
It's 276.
It is 276.
I don't remember, but you do. That's why you're here.
It's ingrained in my mind.
I'm not here for that. You're remembering things. I did remember all of the T's and C's. My thoughts on Paul Mitchell. I think the devil is very much in the detail. I think looking at the deal itself, I think he's got a better CV than Dan Ashworth. I think he's proven at a higher level what he can do, and his reputation speaks for itself. The devil is very much in the detail. What is his responsibility going to be at Newcastle United is the key thing for me. We talked about it, me and Dom, on the last video about, I think in an ideal world, if Eddie Howe had his way, a sporting director probably wouldn't come into the equation. I think he quite likes the dynamic with his, what's the relation?
Andy Howe.
Yeah,
who assists Steve Nixon as the head of recruitment.
Yeah, so I think he quite likes that sort of dynamic where he's got his mitts all over the transfers, and so he should to an extent. Any manager, I mean, I've seen people in the comments talking about good managers, top managers have full control over transfers. I do agree with that to an extent, but I think certain managers have to earn that trust, and I think Eddie Howe is still in that process, in my opinion, of earning that trust of having full control over transfers. I think a sporting director is a good thing. I also think spreading yourself too finely at a modern football club in the modern football era can be fraught with danger. I think it is a bigger business running a football team these days than it was 20 years ago. So I think it is important to have those layers of recruitment analysis, recruitment, people involved in getting the deals over the line. So I think the devil is in the detail. If Paul Mitchell is allowed to do some of the stuff that he has been, his base is in scouting. I think he came from a scouting background, so bringing players into the clubs is one of his main, and spotting players as well, is one of his main strengths. I'm sure he's got a network of many people doing that for him now that he can call upon and get involved at Newcastle United, so that'll be really positive. How much of that then gets fed into the actual deals that are done is the devil in the detail. Is that going to pass on? Is Eddie Howe going to pass on some of that responsibility? Is that going to be forced upon him? I think it'll be a good thing. I think it'll be a really positive thing to allow a director of football to get on with that side of the business and bring in the players that are needed. But I've got my doubts whether that'll be the case. So I think it's going to be a slow burn. It's a massively positive appointment, and I think it's the kind of positive news that Newcastle United fans needed this week. It's almost felt like, I think this year in general, from January onwards, I think the bell was rung by Darren Eales in the interview that we were all involved in, that almost since then it's felt like a kick in the balls every other week. Whether that be on the pitch or off the pitch, it's he's going, this is getting sold, everybody's up for sale. And
injuries
still well, look, that's the other thing on injuries. Anybody needs to, some fans maybe need to realign their thinking in some respects. Just because it's a new season does not mean injuries reset. Injuries will continue at Newcastle United, as we're seeing this week, and there will be many more. That's just fact. That's football. Newcastle need to make sure they limit that, and we're still to know whether lessons have been learned. Look, sounds like it was freak, this one.
There's been really a few freak ones.
There has, and when does it kind of become a habit? It is I don't know the details of this. Was Lewis Miley trying too hard to get back fit? He spent a lot of time out. It was going to be a big season for him. He's going to miss a good chunk of that at the start now, which is a real shame. And they've gone from a position letting Elliot Anderson go of probably looking a little bit light in that department now. I would argue, especially as Sandro Tonali's unavailable for the first couple of weeks of the season, it's down to the 3+ Willock again, and you're one injury away from a crisis without even start kicking a ball. It is quite incredible, but that's the world we're living in at the moment. I think the big question that everyone's asking isn't just what is Paul Mitchell going to do. The next question is, what is he going to be able to play with in terms of finances? Yeah. And obviously, I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to reach out to a few people, see if we can get some answers on that. But people are doing their base calculations. I seen there was a good piece by Luke Edwards in the Telegraph this week, and he referenced the fact he thinks Newcastle would have over £100 million to spend. Now, I'm no finance expert, and I've not been advised on that at all, so I can't profess to say that's correct or incorrect. But were that to be the case, then things would really start to look up, I would think, this summer.
Yeah. One thing I will say on budgets is Eddie Howe and the club in general have been quite consistent with the message where budgets in the modern game don't really exist, because you go, 100 million, Newcastle have 100 million to spend. It's purely dictated by who they still have to sell. If they can get good money for certain players, that 100 million, as has been quoted in the Telegraph, could potentially double. So it's a very fluid situation, whatever the budget will be. But what it sounds like is Newcastle will have some money to strengthen the squad this summer, though would expect still a couple more players to go as well.
I just want to quickly, before you come in, Jordan, I just want to quickly shoot down something, because I see a lot of talk of like these accounts online firing out, he's going, he's signed, it's nearly done. I seen there was an Arab News tweet that went out. It was so wrong beyond belief, saying that Miguel Almiron was already signed. I know how the operation works at Arab News, and that is it's actually a separate company that fire out those tweets, nothing to do with the sports reporters or desk that they have there. I think they've just jumped the gun a little bit on a rumour, and it'd be surprising given that they don't like that sort of thing in Saudi Arabia. So just a little one there. I think he will go. And I suspect Saudi Arabia is right at the top of that list, but they massively jumped the gun on that one. Sorry, Jordan.
Yeah, I was just going to say on the sort of PSR situation, it makes a mockery of the fact that Newcastle have desperately been trying to get players out the door, and then a week later you can spend for whatever 100 million or whatever has been quoted. It just makes a total mockery of the whole thing. But going back to the Paul Mitchell appointment, I think Newcastle would miss a trick if they didn't tap into his recruitment and scouting knowledge. I think if it was up to Eddie Howe to decide every single transfer to the football club, I think that would be a bit naive, to be honest. You've got a guy there who just lists the players and the players that he saw, the players that he signed. that there's some big players on that list, and if you can replicate that in Newcastle, then it'll be beneficial for everyone. Where that's again signing top talents or being able to get players out of the door. So yeah, I think it's a really good appointment. As I said at the start of the video, I do think Newcastle, having lost Dan Ashworth, have ended up with a better candidate.
What else were we going to talk about? What did I say at the start?
Was it not the Sela Cup?
Sela Cup. Are you excited? Are you excited for the Sela Cup?
We're playing Brest.
I bought tickets, you know.
I think this, honestly, I can feel the excitement here in Louis' liquor store. I can feel it. It's palpable. I think.
It is midday, that's why.
Yeah, the Sela Cup, discuss. Go on, you bought tickets. You're a happy man.
It's back.
You're not going to sit with us in the press box?
I probably will. My tickets are right next to the press box as well, so it's like for me friends.
So we're entertaining the Scur family.
It's not the Scur family.
No, it's
You're not taking that weekend off, are you? Done the double-headed St James's party?
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
No.
Not with that new letter in it.
Have you got Jessie a seat? No, she's not going to be there. She will make an appearance, I'm sure, on Geordie Journos again in the future.
Yeah,
sure.
I think we've got to mention the East Star letter now because Dom.
I think
Dom
mentioned it in our last video, and
I missed the trip. I missed that one, didn't I?
You did. He's not a happy lad. He tries to get to the video.
I did.
He's been having struggles. You've been working hard.
I've been working
Tyne Bridge
hard.
Tyne Bridge is your biggest enemy.
Yeah,
it's an absolute nightmare.
I'm on the wrong side of Tyne Bridge. Wrong side.
Aye. We can't say anything because I'm Shields Gazette. What a place to be, the South Banks of the town.
It is. I'm the editor. Stop getting so disparaging. Just because he's a Newcastle boy and a couple of North Tyneside lads here, just balances it all out. No, I think for me the Sela Cup is
I'm annoyed.
Very underwhelming. I think this is a football club that is, look, there's different facets to this, right? So I'm going to assess this in two different ways. The first one, I'm going to look at it from a club perspective. They sent the players on an end of season trip all the way to the other end of the planet to make a little bit more money, which they needed, quite clearly. They needed that money. They did the right thing, not saying it was wrong, but they didn't really put player welfare, whatever it may be, as the primary reason as to why they did that. So they did that to make the most money possible. They also are going to Japan. Now we know, having spoken to Eddie Howe, we haven't spoken to Eddie Howe about this, just to be very clear. However, we know he wasn't best pleased about the America trip last year, so I would imagine, just putting two and two together, he probably isn't so happy about Japan, hence why Japan is truncated. It's very short, given the length of time that they travel there. It's got an Australia feel to it, and it'll be non-stop, I would imagine. So they did that for money. It's all about exposure, it's all about increasing revenues. Bringing two football clubs that, let's be honest,
or Champions League in name only.
Yes, that's fair. But I reckon most fans, those are clubs that would not have been on Newcastle United fans' radars 5 years ago, right? That shows the size of the football clubs. Now, that's not me being all high and mighty, saying, ooh, we're Newcastle United, we deserve this, whatever. If you want to make money, and you've got an open goal here, is you've got 2 games in 2 days at St James's Park, and you can charge whatever you want for a ticket. But yes, most people want to take your kids. I'll be the same. I might well do the same. However, if you want to make a lot of money, you don't bring Brest and Girona to St James's Park. You get a stellar name. You've got to have one. Now, I would argue the 2 teams that played last year, I don't think either of them, well, one of them Champions League.
Was that
Atlanta, Nice, and
Villarreal?
No, last
Fiorentina.
year. Fiorentina. Last year was Fiorentina and...
No, it was...
Fiorentina, Nice and
Villarreal.
And so, Atlanta was the year before.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's right. So one of them was Champions League last year, is that right? Villarreal?
No, they weren't Champions League.
No, they weren't. No Champions League teams, right?
No, so all
Europa League, right? So it's fair enough. So all Europa League teams, those 3 names are bigger than the 2 they brought this year. Just fact. So there's my first argument. If you wanted to do this for money, it's probably not a great lineup. It will still sell tickets, no doubt about it. But it wasn't full last year. It won't be full this year.
Tell you what, it's a day later. The tickets went on sale yesterday. I just went on the website this morning. I could get tickets next to the press box, 4 in a row, right next to the press box. And that's prime seating, really, isn't it? And I reckon a year ago, you probably couldn't.
Well, there was a better mood music around Newcastle United 12 months ago, with arguably on paper, to the naked eye, better opposition.
Yeah.
Look, I hear people in the comments, but Girona have been the best team I've ever seen in Spain, apart from Real Madrid, but it doesn't matter, it's Girona. And it's not the name. Most normal people who say, ooh, am I going to dip in my pocket again for another 20 quid and get me membership again, which you have to do, which costs a lot of money if you're going to take kids, family, whatever it may be. It's an expensive business, this. Am I going to do that now, having just bought the new kit and whatever it may be? I don't think it's a great sell. I think it's a struggle, and that's my second argument, is that on paper it's nowhere near what it could be. Now, I also will see people in the comments go, I know, but you think Newcastle United this, that and the other. Maybe they're not. But you can if you pay a bit of money, you can get people here. I reckon if it was, look, I look at Tottenham, and Tottenham clearly did a deal last year, by the sounds of it, with a Harry Kane deal. They've agreed for buying me, probably a friendly, I don't know the ins and outs, but looks like a friendly or two was part of that deal. Newcastle didn't do a deal like that, so you can't really argue. But I'm sure they could have got better level of opposition. We're not talking about having to bring in Real Madrid, Barcelona. You could even bring in
Al Hilal. I'm thinking because
the Ronaldo?
The PIF connections. That.
See, not Al Nassr.
Well, Al Nassr, Al Hilal, the Mitro coming back, homecoming. Any of the PIF Saudi Pro League clubs will have a better pull than the two clubs, just because of the names that are there.
I thought they'd do that this year. I really did.
Yeah, they did.
And they haven't done that.
I thought there was whispers.
Me and Jordan would have a field day because all the potential targets visiting St James's Park will be like, oh, on the lookout.
The clickbait boys. They're not here.
So yeah, the reason I said I was annoyed, it just feels like a backward step. I like the format of the Sela Cup last year, where it was an actual cup. Now it's a friendly against Girona on the Friday that has no relevance to the actual Sela Cup, and then just a one-off game against Brest, where if they
have they traded it in for the women's friendly? Is that what they've done because they wanted that to be, or they had that last year?
Well, that might be a big friendly because the women's friendly last year was the third game of the 3-game day, and I think
which was nice.
It was, yeah, but I think by that point a lot of people had left.
They had left, actually. I remember, yeah.
But it was a chance to watch the women's team, and
it was.
They could have always done that game first. But I just think it was a nice tournament that they had last year with good opposition. And I'm not saying the opposition this year aren't good; they're probably higher quality because they're in the Champions League. But in terms of players, in terms of stature, just feels like a backward step. In the Sela Cup, I thought was a chance. Once we knew it was staying, it was a chance to attract maybe one big name, maybe a Saudi team, and then maybe like a local team, give Gateshead a run.
We were talking about that, something silly like that really probably would have worked. But I was even thinking, I'm not talking about, you could have went and got somebody like a PSV or a Feyenoord, or like Ajax. Struggles, I suppose. I don't even know if they're in Europe this year, but you could have got an Ajax.
Bayer Leverkusen.
You could have went and got a Monaco. You could have went and got somebody that's got, you can hang a hat on. You can say, look, there's a decent bit of opposition. I'm not saying
Bilbao would have been a great shout.
Yeah,
I heard something about that. Played them a couple of years ago.
Yeah, there's plenty names you could go through. You could go through plenty. Anderlecht. You could go through loads of clubs where you say like, oh, there's a bit about them. There's naught about these two. Let's be brutally honest. Historically, there's naught about them. It's a bit like inviting.
We're going to have the Brest Ultras in the comments.
We'll have. It's a bit like.
Sacre Bleu.
I don't really know the history of Brest.
There'll be tears when Newcastle United lose the Sela Cup to Brest in a 3-0 defeat.
Hey, we're talking.
The Sela Cup's in Newcastle's trophy cabinet. Yeah.
So it should be.
It's proud.
Silly days. No, but they could have went and got anybody. I think. You know, even I'm just looking at the list you've got here, Paul Mitchell. They could have went got Leipzig. You know, somebody like this is like
Paul Mitchell Cup.
Yeah. Paul Mitchell Cup.
Get MK Dons up. Mike Williamson and Mike Williamson.
I'll tell you what, MK Dons, Blythe Spartans with Nobby Salon.
I'm all for this. We need to. That's your next little task. Never mind the letter in it, St James's Park. You need to get the former players' cup going. Rob Elliott, get Gateshead in, get Nobby in from Blythe. You can do that for it.
I'll try.
Use our connections, where they.
Yeah. We'll be the fixers. Never mind Brest and bloody Girona. Get Nobby back. One of my heroes. Hey, I think we've waffled enough. I think Louis liquor store will be sick of the sight. Well, they'll probably want to turn the music back on.
Aye.
They've been very accommodating here, and it's been a fantastic time. And I'm sure
A good pint as well.
it is. I'm sure we'll come back. We'll be back here, won't we?
Of course, yeah.
We'll do a bit from Geordie Journos Towers. We'll do a bit from here as well, and we'll mix it up through the year. We'll probably get out and about to some locations like we've done in the past as well.
Yep.
Let me know in the comments. Anybody would know it's a 33 nation strong, if not more, with regards to the Geordie Journos community. You come from all four corners of the planet. Let us know. Is there any part of, you might be from here, you might be from a certain area, is there anywhere you want us to go? Let us know in the comments. And like I said earlier, do like, comment, share and subscribe if you like what we do. And there is a little button down below where you can give a little donation that will always stay in the channel and go into the improvement of the Geordie Journos. Forever's Financial Planning, that's also down there. This guy works for the Shields Gazette, this guy works for Newcastle World. What more do you want?
Want some signings?
I'm sure we'll talk about
That's
that as
when
well
we'll be.
Comes along, yeah.
I want the Sela Cup.
Jordan, I want videos from you on the beach in, is it Cyprus you're going?
Yes, yeah.
When Newcastle
Paphos Beach.
When Newcastle break the transfer record next week.
I was urging anybody from the four corners of the world that we have in this Geordie Journos community, if they see Jordan Cronin and his beautiful other half in Paphos, do tap him on the shoulder and let him know.
I would love that. I would love that. So yeah, if anyone's going to Paphos and watches the channel, come and find us.
Hey, fun and games.
People will be booking holidays now.
Will you send me a video from over there when we do
something relevant happens?
Something happens. You can
If you want a video from us, I will happily send you a video from the beach.
It completes the trilogy of Geordie Journos international beach videos.
Yeah, I was in Mallorca when I sent mine.
Yeah, the Dom was
Dom's
Turkey.
Dom's been from Turkey.
Remember that? The view from Turkey.
Are we allowed to say what you did over there?
If you want.
He's about to get married. He's about to get married next year. Next year, he proposed to his then girlfriend, now fiance.
Mm-hmm.
What
Big
a guy.
plans.
In Turkey. You doing the same?
No.
The Newcastle win against Fulham.
And if I did, I wasn't going to tell you.
He's keeping it a secret.
No, it was that Newcastle win against Fulham spurred me on. It was that beach.
Was it?
Yeah. Where
the beach from the video?
Go back to, yeah. It was almost the exact spot.
Was it?
Yeah.
Hey.
It held sentimental value to me because I knew 2 days earlier I'd filmed a Geordie Journos video.
It'll be always on the Geordie Journos channel as well for sentimental purposes.
Too much information in my private life.
It is. Now we know a little bit about the Geordie Journos.
Mm-hmm.
Soon to be married, not yet married. Formally married, and happily not married. Anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe for all your Geordie Journos content.